Honestly, the harder the challenge, the bigger the dopamine hit when you succeed. Grit is like any other skill that we try to shape. I honestly think that we make it just so much more unattainable because we can't physically see it. However, if we're able to attach it to a behavior that we can see and we can break it down, we can shape it in reinforcement just like we do in anything else. And your final thought may be, but how does this relate to clients? Because that's what you came here for, right? How does it affect the client? As practitioners, we pride ourselves on implementing principles that are within our scope of practice. So if you yourself cannot establish grit or shape it in your own life, how can you expect to assist others with theirs? And we have to take that same mindset for our learners too. Because if we just allow them to just attend Special Olympics and not integrate themselves within the community, we're doing them a disjustice and we're not laying out the clear expectations of what the real world looks like. A lot of times we want to focus on just the task completion and not really evaluating what our feelings look like. And I feel like that's where we fall short, because identification of feelings and linking that to success is so important. I recently read an article where a teacher assigned some math questions to an entire class, and the objective wasn't for the students to finish the questions. They were actually a little bit out of their reach. What they would do is provide the students with instruction of, when you're beginning to feel frustrated, and then they would break down what frustrated meant, they would say, raise your hand. So the students would begin working on these problems, and again, it's idiosyncratic, right? Some students may be able to blow through those problems because they're really good at math. If anybody else was like me in school, I sucked at math. So I would be one of those students who would be immediately raising my hand and being, I feel frustrated. And then the teacher would come by, or with the instructional assistant would come by and say, okay, what does your frustration feel like? And then the student would say out loud what their frustration felt like. And the teacher would say, I really love how you're pushing through this. I know this is hard. I know it doesn't feel good, but I'm so proud of you for doing this. And I want you to continue to work on this math problem. And they would sit there and work on the math problem with the teacher, and they would get through it. So not only were they able to persevere, identify their feelings and say, this is okay to feel this way, but I'm going to continue to work on this, and then they were successful. So like I was saying in the beginning, small stepping stones, identifying the feeling, pushing through it, and then finally making it and reinforcing that behavior. So if you can identify tasks, break them down. Allow a student or an individual to explain how they're feeling, reinforce it, and then help work them through that. That's how we begin to link those feelings and make time for understanding them. Because even oftentimes as like full-grown adults, sometimes we blow through our feelings and we don't really sit and think like, why is it exactly that I feel this way? And being able to link the internal on the external feelings is such a huge part of that ACT component, or being able to identify, okay, this feels crummy. Why does it feel crummy? It doesn't matter that it feels crummy because I know I can do this.
Yeah.